everybody. This presentation is on the phylum Phonorids, also known as the Phonorids. This presentation is by April Alvarez and Jackie Nunez. In this presentation, we will be discussing the classification, phylogeny, morphology and anatomy, life cycle, reproduction and development, habitat, and nervous system of the Phonorids. Phonorids are tube-dwelling animals. The adults are exclusively sessile animals, but they can move within their tubes. They exhibit bilateral symmetry, and they are triploblastic animals, which means they have an ectoderm, a mesoderm, and an endoderm. They have a closed circulatory system, which means their blood is contained within blood vessels, and their blood's main component is hemoglobin. All known Phonoriid species are marine. There are only 20 described species, and they are all true coelomates, which means that their body cavity has a mesoderm lining. As we can see based on this animal phylogeny tree, the Phonorids are protostomes and fall within Lophotrochozoa, which means they are monophyletic and exhibit a lophophore. They're also known as horseshoe worms due to the spiral coil shape of their lophophore. Phonorids permanently live in chitinous, multi-layered organic tubes that are secreted by the trunk epidermis. Their tube is attached to solid surfaces. All Phonoriid species range in length from 5 centimeters to 25 centimeters, although their average length is 12 centimeters. Sensory neurons and various gland cells are found within the epidermis, and their gland cells are responsible for the production of mucus and chitin. Their intestine is U-shaped, and the prosome forms the epistome, which is a flap of tissue that covers the mouth. The mesosome is the lophophore, and the metasome is the trunk of the Phonoroid. Their diagonal muscles constitute a defined layer along the anterior part of the body trunk, and there is no layer of diagonal muscles in the caudal trunk. These diagonal muscles consist of scattered muscle fibers oriented in one direction. The diagonal muscles of the right and left sides of the body consist of the mirror symmetrical fibers joint in the oral and anal mesenterium. The diagonal muscles also run through the layers of the longitudinal muscles and the circular muscles. The function of these diagonal muscles is to allow the animal to turn their anterior body part and change the lophophore position. Their lophophore is in this U-shaped form, and their anus is found close to their mouth but outside their tentacles. The lophophore, the Phonoriid excretory system is composed of paired metanephridia that have asymmetrical U-shaped tubes. Sexual dimorphism is characteristic of the structure of the distal part of the nephridium, which opens into the body cavity. Their closed circulatory system consists of left and right lateral and medial vessels. Their crown of tentacles, known as the lophophore, is used to filter feed and is also used for respiration. Each tentacle has a single blood vessel. This image shows the trunk of a Phonoroid in cross-section. Note that the longitudinal muscles contract to shorten the length of the animal, and the circular muscles lengthen the body. This image also shows their efferent muscle and afferent the efferent vessel and the afferent vessel, which is part of their lateral vessels. We can also see the epidermis and gland cells, which is responsible for producing the material that is used for their tube.
Reproduction and development. Phoronids engage in asexual reproduction due to a transverse fission, meaning that the body undergoes through spontaneous transversal segmentation. The phoronids can be found as gonochoristic, one female and one male, and hermaphroditic species. Some of the hermaphroditic species are simultaneous hermaphrodites. They will reproduce both male and female gametes. For the most part, reproduction is external and fertilization is internal for the phoronids. Phoronids are capable of regenerating lost body parts, various parts of the lophophoral end, and they're also capable of autotomy, insinuating that they are capable of auto-amputation as a mechanism of defense. Lastly, they can do vasoperitoneal tissue, which is the mass of the gametes forming, and also the blood sinuses that are also forming. This happens in the gonads and form thick areas around the hemoplexule of the phoronids. Life cycle and habitat. The life cycle of phoronids is biphasic, and this is an evolution of the flagellated cells. The lifespan of phoronids is around 1 year. There's not enough information about the phoronids' predators, but some of them are fishes, gastropods, and nematodes. Phoronids can be found vertically embedded in soft sediment like sand, mud, or fine gravel. Some of them from tangled masses, or they can also be incrusted in rocks or shells. Their most recent life cycle, based on our research, is composed of an adult stage passing onto a blastula stage and turning into a gastrula stage. That will become into a planktonic larva and will turn into two final juvenile stages, pelagic juvenile and settled juvenile. And finally, it will become the adult phoronid that will repeat the cycle all over again. Nervous system. The nervous system of the phoronids diffuse and lacks several ganglion due to their sedentary lifestyle. The nervous system is related to the body wall for being intraepidermal or subepidermal. The body of the phoronids is fully supported by nerve fibers that are in between the epidermis and the circular muscle layer. They also have sensory neurons along with motor neurons. The sensory neurons are attached to the organs. Central nervous system located at the base of the lophophore and comprises a simple intraepidermal nerve ring. This nerve ring allows the tentacles with nerves to allow the motor nerves to straighten up some of the muscles in the metasome. Also, phoronids, they usually have two longitudinal giant motor fibers in the trunk of the phoronid, one on each side of the trunk, and they extend to the opposite side. In some phoronids, there's one longitudinal giant motor, and it's usually in small phoronids. It's on their right side, but it tends to move to their left side of the trunk, and it can be found on that side. For our lab practical questions, our questions are: Number 1. What is the type of life cycle of the phoronids? The life cycle of the phoronids is biphasic. Number 2. What is the nickname of phoronids based on the shape of their lophophore? The nickname of the phoronids based on the shape of their lophophore is horseshoe worms. Here is our reference slide, and thank you for watching.